Toddy asks her husband to wait and asks why he was just running and why he didn't wait for her. Rodrigo deflects, tells her to please take his wallet, as he had forgotten to take it. She says they were going to the market. How could he forget his wallet? He just tells her to do what he was asking. His wife agrees, and she asks him to wait and not run away. He mumbles something and agrees. As soon as she is far away, her husband calls her clumsy and starts walking. As soon as a woman passes by, he plays a catch-up on her and says that she was not like the junk he had at home and asks God, where had he put his life? And another woman passes by a few seconds later and he plays another cantata saying that he adored a woman who had breast implants, but stopped because Toddy had arrived and told her husband that he hadn't left his wallet in the car. He mumbles, calling her disappointment, and disguises it by saying that the wallet was there with him, and lets go of his arm when he asks her to look at his cell phone, and her husband leaves her behind. At home, the wife asks her husband where would he go, and he replies that he would go out for drinks with his friends and tells her to stay home. Toddy complains that she wanted to go too and he hadn't even called her. Rodrigo mocks her, saying he wouldn't take her, to embarrass himself in front of his friends, and he didn't even have the courage to go out on the street with her like that, and asks her not to fail him, without listening to his wife. Toddy murmurs that she wanted to go, and wonders why he didn't take her. Making up her mind, she says that since it was like that, she knew the places where he was and where they had met, and murmurs that she was going to make a little surprise for him. At the bar, two women were talking, but they are interrupted by Rodrigo, who arrives saying that he looks at who he had found there and asks if he could sit with them. The woman in the yellow blouse calls him an inconvenience, and Rodrigo, not caring what she said, calls her a delight and receives a slap from the woman, who gets up and leaves, and another calls him a killjoy and follows her friend. Rodrigo says that the slap was burning, but at least that's how he remembered her. Outside, the woman in the yellow blouse complains about Rodrigo calling him an inconvenience to her friend, and the other says he was still married and didn't even respect his wife. The brunette says she hopes she never finds this disgusting man again and calls her friend to go away. Sometime later, his wife arrives and asks if she could sit with him. Impressed with her look, her husband tells her to sit down, while she asks if he liked it and where were his friends, and he said it was a work meeting. Rodrigo says that no one was able to come and tells his wife that she was very beautiful, praising her hairstyle and saying that she smelled great. Toddy says that it was the perfume she had bought today, while her husband said that she was perfect. The woman was showing what she had bought. Rodrigo tells his wife that she was spectacular, stunning, and had never seen her like that in his life, and calls the waiter, saying that he was supposed to bring whatever she wanted. Still saying she looked flawless today, and your wife asks if she could take whatever she wanted? Rodrigo says it was clear. She then decides that she would have champagne because she deserved it, and says that tonight she promises. When they come home laughing, the wife says that they needed to do this more, and Rodrigo agrees, and he drunkenly calls his wife, saying it's been a while that they haven't been dating. She asks for calm and says that before they started dating, she wanted to know if her partner liked her dress. Rodrigo says that that dress was the most beautiful in the world, and his wife says that she had bought it today too, and it had been 2,500 reais. Surprised by the value of the dress, the husband chokes and asks how she had paid. Toddy doesn't answer and continues saying that that dress was exclusive, that no one would have the same as hers, and also says if he remembered the gold necklace that I had told him I wanted that day that was 50% off, but as the discount had just finished, she paid 7,000 today on it. Rodrigo complains about her spending 7,000 on a necklace, and his wife ignores him, showing her diamond earrings that she had seen and also bought for 15,000. Her husband complains that that money was enough to buy a popular car, but his wife asks if wasn't she beautiful? He says she was beautiful, wonderful, but where did she get all that money to buy those things? Still without answering, her husband says that since she had already bought the necklace and earrings, she had gotten a discount and the bracelets had been 11,000. Her husband calls her crazy and asks how she had the courage to spend all that money. The woman asks Stu if it hadn't been embellished and if it hadn't been good. In addition to saying that there was more and that the surprise came now, showing that she had found his black card and that everything she said she had bought, she passed his card and had not paid in installments so as not to accumulate limit. In disbelief, Rodrigo asks if she had used his card and if she was crazy. His partner asks him to calm down and sit down, it wasn't over yet, and asks if he remembers today when they were passing by the square, and he saw those girls there, and even said that he loved women who had silicone. He explains that he had already paid his bill and was going to get liposuction, because he thought it was too square, that they only lived inside the house and couldn't go out, and another 40,000, and the card's limit had been exceeded. Her husband calls her crazy, and asks how she could have done that to him and talks about all the money and she had spent it all like that. Toddy asks, is she crazy? And he says how crazy he was, who walks with her looking at other women on the street and says that there are no ugly women, there are poor husbands who can't take care of his wife, and add that if he liked a beautiful woman, that's how she would walk from now on and talk to get used to it, because if she finds it expensive, she works more to pay for it, and leaves without answering her partner's supplication, calling her name and asking herself, how would he go about paying for that card? Calling his wife crazy and despairing alone,